So this is the problem that I was faced with 18 years ago. And you can see that the fourth metacarpal fracture is a fairly standard fracture, but the fifth is subcapital and would not be amenable to standard forms of fixation because there's not enough real estate in which to gain purchase and still move the patient. So that's what we're going to talk about today over the next few minutes. I have disclosures. Our learning objectives are very simple, and even Sudhir may be able to understand them. I've tried to make them really simple just for Sudhir. Sudhir, pay attention, please. This is the metacarpal. This is the bone we're talking about. The fourth metacarpal is usually the thinnest of the lot. So just so you know, and the medullary canal lines up with the dorsal third of the head. So even though Sudhir may want to sell you a snake oil in the form of K-wires, do not believe him because all boxes fractures do not need surgery. A large degree of angulation is acceptable, and you have to remember that there's a 15-degree offset between the head and neck. So what did we do with this librarian? We put a screw through the head because we wanted subchondral purchase. And we published this 15 years ago. And that reminds me of J.W. Scott's paper about Scott's parabola, the rise and fall of a surgical technique. And why did I choose this paper? Because there are naysayers, just like Sudhir, waiting there with peanuts to throw at me. So let's look at what happened to the technique. When the paper was published, it was considered a promising idea. Seems pretty good at 12 months, and then 9-year follow-up still looks good, and the joint looks pretty good. Here's someone else with a 6-week-old nascent malunion, and at 4 weeks, you have that kind of function. So naturally, over the last 15 years, this has met with widespread enthusiasm. I would not say there's strong media pressure, but it's been accepted by most people, and it's become standard of care. But as the great philosopher Taylor Swift said, haters gonna hate. And haters like Sudhir will say that you created a hole in the articular cartilage. Oh my God, you're going to cause arthritic change and compression and shortening, and where's your rotational control? But what we learned from Paul Brand, if an observation does not fit a theory, question the theory. So to those haters, I say, the metacarpal head is similar in size to the scaphoid, into which you put a screw with impunity. The bipolar heads give you rotary control, so stop with the lack of rotational control. We put screws through chondral insertion sites in the capitellum, in the radial head, in the humeral head, in the femoral head, as well as in the scaphoid. So why can't we put it here? And if you need more science, then let's go to the lab. So that's what we did. We went to the lab. And we took a 3mm headless screw and we compared the mated surface area in coronal and sagittal planes. And because God gave us, in all her wisdom, hyperextension of 30 degrees, the mated surface area affected by a 3mm screw was only 8 and 4% in the coronal and sagittal planes. Now you might say, well, you're the inventor of the technique. Obviously, your research is going to favor you. Abdi Bachura also looked at the same thing, and they found that the amount of surface area affected was just about 5%. So the science is there, the experience is there, and I'm going to let Sudhir have his go. Give it your best shot, buddy. Try to put a curved wire in a straight bone. Let's you do that.